Hey there, comic friends. I'm Travis, and there's still no Ethan. He has not been reanimated yet, or something like that. And this is Monster Comic Reviews. This week, because Ethan's not here and stayed marginally within the Halloween theme, we brought in a psychic medium, and we've pulled in our disembodied voice once again that haunts our house to do comic reviews with me. Isn't that right? Yeah, see. She's going to be annoying, I guess. This is Animal Man number 13 is the first thing we're going to talk about. Woohoo! I like, this comic. I think that it's interesting. I'm a bit confused as to how this can be the present time. They're insisting that this is the present time, and of course, no other comic in the DC universe reflects what's happening here. So I'm not sure if this is really, really happening in the current time.
I've got my fingers crossed for not really happening, because what's really happening is sucks.
Yeah, well, so they fall. What they
fell for a year and then emerged.
Right, or what's happened is that they jumped into the rot world while the Butter Baker of this other dimensions world jumped through at the same time, and they crossed paths. I'm just trying to think of how they're gonna be able to tell this story. So I'm thinking what they did is that our Buddy Baker fell into their world where they were gone a year and everything went to hell in a handbasket, and somehow they're going to be able to find their way back because...
So what are we going to do about the fact that Cliff and Mom seem to have turned into rot monsters?
I don't know. They'll get better. I don't know. Maybe they're gone. Maybe that's the end of them.
Oh, I hope not. Cliff is annoying, but I really love Mom.
The whole family's awesome. That's one of the things that made the book great. So if we've lost... Well, they're not dead.
So you think that they can have the rot expelled from them the same way that they got the rot put in them?
Sure.
Yeah, I guess that could
Who's
happen.
to say that
It happened to Abby.
Who's to say that what's her name can't flush them out?
I know I was expecting her
Maggie?
to do
Is that her
something.
name? What's her name? Can't be Maggie. That's The Simpsons, right? At any rate, I can't remember her name right now. Little Wing. That's all I can remember.
Is it Muriel?
No.
It's a stupid name. I mean, in comparison to Little Wing, which I like.
No, that's not it. But obviously things have gotten really bad. It's interesting to see who's working for the Red. Duh, the Beast Boy's working for the Red now that they've made him red instead of green. Interesting that that Black Orchid's with them. I wonder if she's working for the Red just because she's meat, and so therefore that's why she's working for the Red, and somehow she just managed to survive. Because they're implying that her magical powers are somehow animal-based in some fashion, which is bizarre when you got to name a Black Orchid. But
yeah, I don't know enough about Black Orchid to know.
Well, I know the old Black Orchid, but the old Black Orchid and this new Black Orchid are two different critters altogether.
Very different orchids.
Yeah. So, I'm just real curious. I mean, this is cool. I think it's cool. I mean, I think it's awesome to see this destruction, to see how they're going to work their way out of it and whatnot. But I'm having a problem with my mind not racing forward to how are they going to square all this away, and where does the comic go once this is all done? Because to me, it feels like this is pretty dire, and what story is there going to be after this? When this is all said and done, they brush off the dirt. We assume they win at the end of it, and we assume that there's going to be an Animal Man comic afterwards. What's it going to be? I mean, I'm almost more curious about that than I am the Raw World story.
I'm curious about both, and yes, he and Swamp Thing, that we'll get to later, they both want to rewind because they're both in really crappy situations, and I'm really hoping that, I'm such a Pollyanna, I just want everything to be all pretty and nice all the time, so, and that's just not normal in any world.
Yeah. Oh, I know what they'll do. He'll get he'll get the spirit of a cheetah, and he'll run around the world backwards, like in Superman 2,
It
right?
worked for Superman.
And it'll turn everything backwards, and then they can fix it all.
There
Right?
you go.
Right? Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. Got anything else you want to say about it?
Don't you have to rate it?
Oh, yeah. I guess we have to rate it. I give it a 4 out of 5.
And I give it a 3. It made me mad.
You didn't like the comic.
Oh, no, I liked it.
You don't like the story.
I,
You don't like the outcome.
Exactly. I'm not really happy with what's going on. I just,
You just want it to all be flowers and cute animals and
yeah.
happiness. Oh, okay.
Okay, you're right. It probably does deserve a 4 because it is a well-told story.
Well, we knew it was coming.
And the art's good.
Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting. Anyway, let's move on to Batwing number 13. Start of a new storyline here. I didn't really think this was that good of a comic. There's a couple things I'm confused by. One is the fact is that they show the characters in here, this group of people that are like, I don't know, brainwashed, almost zombie-like, working for some father lost character, some sort of blood cult of some sort. And the word bubbles, the way they're jagged and whatnot, make it sound like they're, is how they're talking. It seems to me that's the feeling I
They're
get
hypnotized.
from it.
And maybe talking like in a monotone or talking like a zombie.
Yeah, something like that. But they all have smiles on their faces.
Well, yeah, they've got crazy brainwash smiles.
Okay, for me, the speech bubble, the way it looks, and the way they look, the two don't match up together in my brain as being.
Well, at least the leader, the guy that has the scars on his face, the one that didn't kill himself. And
Right.
He looks creepy, crazy, smiley. So I don't have a problem with the.
But they're all that way.
Yeah, creepy, crazy, and creepy, crazy word bubbles go together for me.
Okay, it didn't for me.
That's cool. What I think is interesting is that they have father lost, but they keep all talking about
Her.
the goddess and her.
Uh-huh.
So it's going to be interesting to see.
So he's a leader of some
That
cult
is.
of something.
And we have yet to see him.
Kali or who knows.
Just as
No,
followers.
it can't be Kali, that's India.
And I want to know who this girl is.
Well, here's my confusion is, and this may be a fault of the art, despite the fact I like Marcus 2's art, they've introduced a character, I think. She wears a scarf. She has a headscarf. Somewhat traditional looking of a Muslim, fine. But she has these like energy swords she creates. That's cool looking too. And she kicks lots of butt. Is she that policewoman?
I don't know. It'll be interesting if she is, but if she is, then we should be able to tell.
Yeah.
So.
Right. But they look an awful lot alike, but at the same time the characters don't act enough right. I mean, if she is David's partner at the police force, the one who managed to survive the massacre when massacre was hacking people up and whatnot.
Right, but
if it's her,
seems meeker.
Right, she's putting on a really good act.
And she's taking, her cut of the money that they've taken from the dead baddies.
I kind of like that though. I like the fact that she took the cut and she explains why she has to take the cut. She has to take the cut because she feels like she has to fit in. She doesn't necessarily want the money, but if she doesn't take the money,
if she takes a
she's
stand,
on
then
she's on the outside. She's on the outside, and she can't afford it. Like David seems to think he can. Right.
She's on the street, and she doesn't want people to not have her back when something
right.
bad happens.
So,
and considering the kinds of things that seem to be happening.
So I like it. I like it because the world isn't black and white, and that defines a much grayer area. Look, I know this isn't necessarily the right thing to do, but I'm doing it because ultimately I need it for now. Not the money, but I need to be part of the group to survive. So it's not a simple matter of black and white as David. I'm righteous and good, and therefore I'm not taking any take because I'm righteous and good and stand up for blah, 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 blah.
Yeah, that makes sense. I don't know. I'm looking forward to seeing where this goes, but I'm not in love with it. I do like the cover though.
Do you?
It's really gross.
Yeah, it is. I don't know. I wasn't excited by this issue. All the way around, there's too many things that I found confusing due to the fact that either isn't described well enough for me or artistically, I'm confused.
I agree.
I'm confused by it. But I think it's cool that they're introducing another superpowered person in Africa that's not part of that old school group of people that all got mulched.
Right.
So that's cool. That's cool. I like that. I like the fact we're going to see more heroes that aren't North America / United States. So I like that part. I just thought it was a very unoriginal and uninteresting start to our storyline, I guess.
2.5.
Yeah, that's about where I met with it too. Yeah, it wasn't awful, but I mean, nothing for me to be excited about. I wouldn't tell anybody. And this is a jumping on point. You know, I mean, this is a place of a new arc. You can jump onto it, but I wouldn't recommend anybody jump onto it because it just didn't do anything for me. Okay.
Okay.
Defenders number 11. Terry Dodson cover. Or Dodson and Dodson cover. I really like the Defenders. I like it more and more all the time. My biggest issue with it is it seems like every issue has a different artist on it. You know, they announced that Jamie McCavey was going to be doing the art. I was like, yeah, that's cool. He did the last issue. And obviously then, I guess, you know, with the Marvel Now stuff happening and whatnot, he's got so much other stuff going on.
He's busy.
That he's already started on the other Marvel Now stuff. So, the artist on this wasn't bad. It just kind of changed the way some of them look and whatnot. I'm really enjoying this story with the Impossible Engine. There were just some really cool stuff, and I thought, I mean, the whole idea, continuing the whole idea of the fact that there's this creature out there that's basically just thinks things out of existence. And,
Yeah.
and Namor showing up and washing him away, and
He looks pretty good.
Yeah, well, he didn't, you know, because he didn't get teleported around like they did and whatnot. So, you know, he got separated quite a while ago. And so...
and time has passed and his hair's all long.
Yeah, he's got the big old beard going and long hair.
And see look more only with dark hair.
Yeah. Yeah, that's pretty cool.
And I like the story that the Silver Surfer was told.
Yeah.
So I'm interested.
Right, that's a cool idea.
We have probably one more issue.
One or two, I think. Yeah. Yeah, the story that Silver Surfer is told is basically that there's this giant monster out there, or monsters. They're consuming everything, and so this group of people, basically, with the Impossible Engines, hid this version of Earth and put all of these unique people on it, in hopes that they would be able to gather enough crap together.
Earth is a place of miracles, and
right.
So they've just been making and putting more
snatching up the
empowered people from other worlds onto Earth.
Right.
So I thought that was interesting.
I just love how they play on the whole, pointing out the fact, I mean, come on, look how many people we've had bitten by radioactive spiders, and how many people that we've had have these horrible accidents, and somehow they survive these horrible accidents. I mean, they're all miracle type things, and they've all created these individuals. It's a setup. I mean, it's all been manufactured to some degree.
Yeah, that makes sense.
It's cool. It's a cool idea.
Yeah, sometimes I wish that, you know, if there were a world where Marvel crossed over into DC and back and otherwise,
that's not gonna happen.
Yeah, I know, but I think the Century Babies would fit in with that concept too.
Oh, sure, from Stormwatch.
Right.
Yeah.
Because I read those pretty close together.
Yeah.
So the two of the storylines kind of didn't cross over, but the thought of it did.
Yeah. Well, I love the fact that Silver Surfer finally comes back to the place with that. He rattles all this stuff off about what all they need to do and what they all are, blah, 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 blah. And then he kind of like, wait.
Does any of that make sense?
Did any of that make sense? Am I really here or whatever?
Kisses him.
Yeah, Red Hulk kisses him like, hello?
Yeah, that was fun.
Yeah, I like Red Hulk. I like Red She-Hulk. I like Red She-Hulk in this. I'm kind of bummed to hear I've seen 2 reviews now of the Red She-Hulk comic that we'll be reading next week.
Yes.
And both people that have reviewed it didn't like it, so kind of bummed by that because I like the character. I mean,
yeah, I've enjoyed her.
She's a fun character. I haven't used her enough here lately, but so at any rate, so of course they're they're like back in Doctor Strange's house or something like that, aren't they?
Yes.
It seems, and Doctor Strange's butler, minder, whatever he is, I can't remember his name. Of course, has perished long ago, and so he basically goes to bury him, sort of. And now this whole deja vu thing is he's cracking open his door, and there they all are with the
saying the same thing.
Say the same thing he said before, like 7 or 8 issues ago. So I think we're coming up to the end of it. It'll be really interesting to see how it all ends. Them saying you got to break the machines or everything dies.
Right.
Whereas before, what they say, no, we don't want to break the machines because everything dies.
Right, and they were moving them, which they weren't supposed to do as it
Right,
turns out.
right. Yeah, moving them around screwed everything up because they were like a force field of sorts. So anyway, I really enjoy the comic. Like I said, my only issue with it is the fact that every issue we got different artists on it. So it changes the feeling of it to some degree.
Agreed.
But I still really liking the story. I think this is the type of story that the Matt Fraction should always be writing. One that's just a little bit weird, everything's a little on its side, quirky, kind of thing. I know a lot of people out there in YouTube land don't particularly care for a lot of his work and whatnot, but the things of his I really like. Casanova.
Yes.
Yeah. This. I like Hawkeye. Hawkeye's really awesome right now.
Yeah, I really enjoy Hawkeye.
Yeah, so like I said, the things I like of his that are just a little quirky, and I really like. Anyway, I would give this a 3.5.
That's good.
Yeah.
Because it would be a 4 or even a 4.5 if it weren't for the revolving door on the art.
Yeah. Okay, so next we're going to talk about Detective Comics number 13 with our new creative team of Lyman and Fabok. What'd you think of that? She's giving me scary faces.
How can the disembodied voice give you any faces?
I don't know. I can feel it. I feel a cold chill on my shoulder.
There you go. Okay, I don't know. I didn't love it. I liked the fact that Cobblepot was going, to these great lengths to
put his name on a wing
put his name on the wing of the hospital.
Uh-huh.
And the idea that he is one of the founding families of Gotham, and so he feels like he should be able to move into that. But unfortunately, he's a little sleazeball, and so his way of doing that is
big sleazeball, not little, big.
Okay, yes, a ginormous sleazeball. I think it's interesting that he was drawn more like a human. I mean, you know what I mean. There's the kind of more
moving him farther
quirky cartoon penguin that's almost deformed.
or closer to Tim Burton's original Batman movie. Yeah,
and
where he's got flippers.
He doesn't look quite as pudgy. He just looks like a beaky, older than middle-aged, rotten businessman. Yeah, so there's that. But his idea of taking out Bruce Wayne and keeping Batman busy is kind of fun. And I love the fact that in the beginning, one of the assassins has a perfect target on Batman, has a perfect shot.
Yeah.
And he's like, he's not the target, plus, he's bulletproof.
Right. So come on, he's Batman. He's bulletproof. Anyway, we're not getting paid to shoot him. We only take out people we're paid for.
And we find out later that it's Bruce Wayne. So of course,
Sure.
For those of us in the know, it's kind of funny. The fact that Cobblepot actually gets away with it is kind of interesting. With his threats and his pile of money.
Yeah. It's technically has been called out as being named after him.
Right, after his mom, Esther.
Yeah, as opposed to Bruce's mom.
Exactly. So the fact that he actually gets away with it, he's not foiled in the end, is kind of a little hint of realism.
Yeah.
That I kind of like. So there's that. And I like the way
that
the
assassins
are dressed.
Yeah. Well, and where they're from, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, because they're from, Asia somewhere.
Right.
And so therefore they have that look.
That out. And I also like the fact that, in his typical detective style, he figures out that they're trying to keep, Batman busy by, fixing up the
Sure.
the security system places. Anyway, so that, I guess it's okay, but there's something about it that I didn't like, and I don't know what it is. I guess maybe. Oh no, I don't know.
I enjoyed the comic. I love the very first page, where it's Bruce Wayne donates to the orthodontist, and he's knocks his teeth in.
Later on, when he says he's going to have to donate to Grand Mercy.
Right.
I guess.
I thought that was all funny.
Just tired because I read it late at night.
I thought that was all funny. It was a level of levity that works in the Batman book. I mean, some of my concern is that John Layman writes funny stuff. I mean, the Chew book is disgusting, but funny. He writes stuff with humor in it, so I wasn't sure exactly how this was going to be. So I was really curious. I like it's a little more Bruce Wayne centric.
That's true.
Than just pure Batman, which is good because the others are so pure Batman that this gives it the book. Maybe it's going to have a different kind of a voice, which is good. If you're going to have this many Batman books, they all should cover their own little idea or area. That I really like the art. I think the art is great.
Yes.
I think the whole book is a step up from the last 3 or 4 issues of the book that we've gotten.
Since I can't really remember what was going on in there, I obviously, there was the
they ended the whole thing, but it was
70 million long Court of Owls thing. But did that affect Detective? I can't.
Oh yeah, the Court of Owls stuff was in everything, but no, I just never really. The last story with Detective Comics had the guy with the glass helmet, the Mr. Toxic or whatever.
Right. I didn't like that much.
Yeah.
Yeah, and maybe I was just tired and cranky when I read it. So, because Batman always wins. But I guess that if Bruce Wayne doesn't always win, that's a little bit more normal in society.
Well, and I'll be curious to see how he gets himself out of the situation at the very end of it.
Right, yes.
Where the assassins, you can't call off the assassins. Cobblepot, Penguin, he's happy because he's got the place named after him. He's like, I'll forget it. Now it'd be better if Bruce Wayne doesn't die. It's actually going to be better for me. And he gets informed that you can't call them off once they've taken the contract. They fulfill the contract kind of a thing. So the guy with flaming sword is leaping at Bruce Wayne.
Yes.
Is Bruce Wayne going to get out of that? Yeah, that'll be interesting. I like the backup story too. I really think they need to give
That was interesting.
I think they need to give Andy Clark. He's the artist in the backup story. They need to give him more
really
work.
Good.
I like his cross hatching. He's the way he does all the extra lines to give texture and more shadow and stuff. In this day and age of computerized coloring and whatnot, to me it really feels like that's almost a lost art to give depth to the characters using line work, and the story itself was pretty cool too. And that one was written by John Layman also.
I felt bad for that guy.
Oh yeah, he's
really did.
Yeah, he's too smart, so he was wiped out. But no, that was cool. That was actually really like that whole setup and whatnot. So yeah, I mean, maybe it's the fact that I'm comparing it to the old Detective Comics. This is a great marketed improvement. I mean, does it still knock my socks off? No, I mean but I enjoyed it, and I'm interested to see what's going to happen, going forward and whatnot. So I give the book a very solid 3.
Okay. No, that works.
Okay, even you didn't like it.
Well,
I don't like it, and it gets a 3.
I was cranky and tired.
Maybe that's why I didn't sleep all that night. Ghost cranky in the house. Okay, next we're going to talk about Dial H, issue 5, as we deal with the Abyss. This finishes this storyline and potentially starts a new, larger thread going forward. I'm enjoying the comic. It has waxed and waned for me. There have been times when I've read it and I've just gone, what the hell? Where it's kind of gone off someplace that didn't make a lot of sense to me. I kind of like the characters at the end of this. I like our dimensional traveler guy who ends up basically disappearing. He ends up being just a head by the time it's all said and done, because he's got these nothing voids shot through him, and he ends up fighting with the Nullmancer, and she makes them even bigger, so he ends up just being a head.
Right.
By the time it's all said and done. I love the fact they finally get the dial fixed and they're praying for this super great hero.
Oh, I know, and he gets like this chicken thing.
It's a mixed between a chicken and a hula hoop, so it's a cock-a-hoop.
Yeah, I think that's right.
A cock-a-hoop ends up.
Who makes these things up? Because
The writer does.
some of these.
He's a famous writer.
I just seriously, I love it. I mean, when does he just hang out? In the shower, driving along, and see a hula hoop. And
what sort of bizarre thing can I put together? I don't know.
I love it.
Yeah.
I know I wasn't part of the issue 0. But if that's really true, and when heroes are dialed, they're taken away from their own world, that's really too bad. So if that's something that they're going to go with later, I'd like to touch on that more. Because that would be...
Oh, well, that's the issue with the 0-1. I mean, that's the issue with... That's my issue with the issue 0 of
something
this.
that they should have covered, not...
I mean, so we know that, so what? I mean, I guess we can read it and go, oh no, where did they take that hero from? Excuse me.
At the same time, in what world is cock-a-hoop a
I want to see
hero?
that world. I want to see that world. I want to read a comic book with that world in it. That's what I want to read. Oh, I think it'd be more interesting is if it sucks him from one of these worlds. But he's not a superhero. He's only a superhero because he's got the dial. Nelson.
And why hasn't Superman's never disappeared or Batman?
Maybe they have.
Been summoned up by the dial.
All that lost time. It's not aliens probing them. They get sucked away to someplace else.
There you go. Anyway, I have enjoyed this comic. I really like both Manto and...
Roxy.
Yeah.
Find out what her name is. Her name is Roxy. Old lady.
Yeah.
And Nelson.
That.
Yeah.
I like the two of them.
They're very average
and
as a whole.
I like the fact that they're, I like their budding friendship. And
yep. We get to see some more history of Roxy. Well, we'll figure out what her name is. And, that she's from the 60s, but not really a product of the 60s because she's too busy studying stuff and whatnot. And tweaking the dial. You get this person towards the end of the fight that comes in and ends up taking out the Abyss and takes out the Nullmancer by just basically shutting her dial down. And so she falls to her death.
Yeah, that was interesting because they're talking about how he's switching effortless.
Between powers.
Between powers, using a dial the way it should be used. And
well, his dial was right set in his chest. He had this big fancy dial in his chest.
And maybe it's that their dials, having been tweaked and broken and repaired, aren't going to work as well, and his is in perfect condition. But it'll be interesting to see him. And I'm sure he's going to be back because they say he's drawn to the dials, so...
Well, drawn to her dial anyway, yeah.
Yeah, so...
But right now they only have one dial, right?
Right.
Between the two of them, they only have one dial.
They have his dial. His broken dial.
Yeah, so it'll be interesting. Here pretty soon, the artist for Frankenstein Agent of Shade will be taking over on art duties. So I'm kind of excited about that.
How that works.
Well... as long as he's doing the art and the current inker is doing the inking, I think it'll be an excellent book. It'll be really well. Because like I said, I didn't like Bertelli when he first started out because they had a different inker on it, and it was much scratchier and a mess.
I remember you telling me that.
But with this newer inker that's on it, I really like it. It's much crisper and whatnot. I think he'll do great drawing these other bizarre things because that's one of the fun things for me about the story is all the bizarre heroes that get dialed up and whatnot. So yeah, I mean, I'm going to stick with the book for a while. I know there are some people who are jumping off of it. I'm going to stick with it for a while longer. I'm curious to see how Bertelli does on artwork on it when he gets on the thing in 2 or 3 more issues. And yeah, I'm curious to see where it goes forward. Now that they have a sense of who they are, how that works. Now there's the question of do we want to keep using it? Because if we keep using it, they could attract this other guy, and then the next question is why would they keep using it? They've kind of dealt with. I mean, Nelson's dealt with why he was using it.
Right.
He's dealt with the thugs and the guy, the snaky guy from the squid from the other dimension. And his dead friend. He's dealt with. He's resolved all that. That all got resolved.
Yeah, but he likes being a hero.
Oh, sure. But that's the next question. What's next? Where are we going from here?
I'm interested in that too because yes, it's kind of like the intro to dialing and our two characters have,
Right.
have met,
Mhm.
so.
Now you've got these
What's gonna
relationships to move forward and see what happens with it. So yeah, I'm on board still. I won't be dropping the book anytime soon. I don't think. It's got just enough quirkiness to it that it's fun. I occasionally wonder what's going on. In the middle of this arc, I felt lost briefly, and it always feels like it takes a lot to lose me in a comic. But yeah, as a whole, I liked it. And like I said, I enjoyed this year. I thought it was a good resolve to everything and whatnot, and sets up, what's next. But I would give it a stock 3. Out of 5.
Okay, yeah, 3 is good.
Okay, we're gonna cut this here and talk about our second half and another one. So neither one of these are very long. So we'll be back in a few minutes. Bye.